Hi folks, this is all the fruit. I'm in the little spa town of Bad Dürkheim in Germany. Bad means a bath, so if you have a spa in your town, you can apply for the government to give you the title bath at your city or village name. This is a very sought after title, so every town is very proud when they get it. And so here in the town of Bad Dürkheim, like in most other towns with a spa, they have a so-called Kur Park or a spa park. Usually they are if it's a balneological spa, usually the mineral springs are somewhere near the park. So basically you can do your thing, you can do your treatment and walk around in the beautiful park. Well, the interesting thing about Bad Dürkheim is the climate is very mild, and so here they can grow a lot of things which are very unusual for other parts of Germany. Well, the roses, you can also grow them in colder climates. But for example, the Mediterranean cypress tree, this is quite a tall one, should be about 11 meters, is not typical for cooler parts of Germany. Well, what type of fruit trees do they have here? Here a monkey puzzle tree, Araucaria araucana. Here with the male cones, the female cones can be as big as watermelons, and they have fruit and they have seeds inside which can be as long as your finger and pretty tasty. What else do we have here? I started at the end of the park without too many fruit trees. But let's see. Park is too big for a video anyway. I don't want to do an incredibly long video. So basically, after the video, just come here and visit the nice town of Bad Dürkheim. So here, for example, we have a Lagerströmia indica, a plant which is more typical for Mediterranean and sub-Mediterranean parks in Europe, but here it grows fairly well. The devil's walking stick, Aralia, I don't even know which Aralia it is anymore. Oh yeah, and here we have the Magnolia grandiflora. When I read the book about exotic ornamentals in Germany from the 50s, they say maybe one day we will be able to cultivate a couple of the deciduous Magnolia species here. Like this one here, I don't even know which one it is. When the weather will be maybe a bit milder, when we'll have more money for greenhouses, and when we will breed more cold resilient varieties, but we will never ever be able to cultivate Magnolia grandiflora in Germany. Well, this group of 3 Magnolia grandiflora, they are not the biggest I've seen in Germany, but it's not so unusual to have them around here now. So now, because of the climate change, it is possible to cultivate even such beautiful evergreen trees here. Look at the giant flower, that's why it's called grandiflora, the big flowered magnolia. Well, here we have quite an old and impressive bitter orange shrub, Ponceros trifoliata. Here you can see the little young fruit. This Ponceros is much more frost resistant than the closely related genus Citrus because it's deciduous, and so in winter it will photosynthesize with those green branches instead of the leaves. Look at this, quite impressive. It's a shrub with several stems, and the thickest one is about 20 centimeters thick at the base. It's quite impressive for German standards. Here a yew tree, Taxus baccata, very toxic but still with edible fruit, but only if you know how to eat them. Here a different magnolia, I forgot the name of this one. See what we have here. They even had a small palmatum, but I think after a harsh winter they abandoned their ideas of a palmatum. What have we got here? Here we have 2 little jujube trees, Susifos You look at this one. The one in the foreground seems to be dead. What looked like young leaves are actually just lichen growing on it. But the one in the background still seems to be intact. They produce a fruit a little bit similar to a date. Quite tasty, and most people think it's a subtropical fruit because Susifos usually comes from places like China and India. But no, you can actually grow it even in temperate climates. Well, here we have some Prunus laurocerasus. The fruit are edible if they are fully ripe and not too bitter, otherwise they contain a lot of cyanic acid. The cornel cherry, Cornus mas, also with edible fruit, but quite tart fruit. Here, Viburnum rutidophyllum. I think I still haven't made a video about it. The fruits are supposed to be kind of ediblish, but not really. And here the pretty similar Viburnum lantana, also with edible fruits, but not all sources agree on that. Let's see what we have here. The Plum collection used to be somewhere here, but as I said, they abandoned it after a cold winter. This is but Dürkheim is in an area of Germany called the Weinstraße, with one of the mildest climates in Germany, so they usually tend to import a lot of not very frost resilient stuff from France and Italy, and then after 5 or 10 winters when it freezes down, there are a couple years when they import less frost resilient stuff. Then they start again, then we still have a freezing winter again. It would be better if they did it the other way around, because if they would start importing frost-sensitive stuff right after a harsh winter, and it's already 10 years old when the next harsh winter comes, it will be more winter hardy than all the young plants. So they shouldn't stop for a couple years after every harsh winter, but just go on. Well, here they have a collection of Quercus suber, or the cork oak. The bark of the oak is where the corks for wine come from. So you would peel away the bark and then make the corks for the wine bottles out of it. Yes, it seems that they have abandoned the idea of a palm collection. Well, back then they had a couple palm species in their collection where I was absolutely sure they would not survive. There's actually a selection of palm species which can survive in Germany, but I think they chose the wrong palm species, and so they were unsuccessful. Yes, it was right here. Well, now instead of palms, they have planted bananas. Bananas do much better around here. Let's go and look at their banana patch. Here it is, because the bananas are being cut down in autumn. Now we have the 1st of June, so they are still not very impressive. They are less than 2 meters tall, but they will grow much taller. The best time to look at banana plants in Germany is like September and October, right before the first frost. Right now, as I said, they are not too impressive. Well, maybe let's hope they started another palmatum somewhere here with some more frost-resistant species. It would be a pity. They have the climate here to cultivate a lot of palm species. Here a ginkgo tree, Ginkgo biloba, with edible fruit which smell and taste of puke, but the seeds are quite tasty. Here we have a couple other fruit trees. Here behind the oak, some mulberry trees. Boros alba, the white mulberry. There was actually centuries ago a commercial silk production in the area. That's how the white mulberry got introduced here. Here is a nice tree. Here next to it the paper mulberry. This shrub doesn't look so healthy. I'm not even sure that... No. Oh, sorry, that's a mistake. This is not the paper mulberry. My mistake. Let's see what we can get here. I think that this park is not capitalizing so much on the warm climate. There are parks in the area of the Weinstraße which are dedicated completely or largely to those Mediterranean and subtropical plants, but this park is not so much yet. Well, rosemary hedge. There are also parts of Germany where the rosemary would freeze back, and actually here it also used to freeze back decades ago. Well, here the German medlar, Mespilus germanica, an old traditional fruit tree, very popular with the ancient Romans and Greeks. Here it is. Although this seems to be an ornamental variety. Look at those bright pinkish medlar flowers. Pity I couldn't see them when they were still in their prime. Well, here we have another Mediterranean plant, the domestic pine or Pinion Pine or umbrella pine. Umbrella pine because the crown tends to become shaped like an umbrella, and this is the pine where the pine nuts or pinion nuts in the Mediterranean come from. In America there are other species. In cold areas like the Alps and Russia there are also other species. Here you can see a couple of the big cones. However, they grow pretty well in Germany now. They used to freeze back decades ago. Now they grow pretty well here, but still they don't seem to produce edible seeds. At least I don't see a single pine nut on the ground. Well, I don't know if there is a lot of fruit trees in this part of the park. Well, here a cherry plum of the popular red-leafed cultivar. This is mostly planted as an ornamental. Actually, almost nobody plants them as a fruit tree because they are so common as ornamentals and as escaped naturalized plants. You don't need to plant them as fruit trees because they're everywhere anyway. Here finally we have a couple palms. And don't click away because the best comes at the end. Let's see what we'll find here. Nice beautiful park, not only for people who are in the spa, but also for the town population. Well, here is some ornamental cherry, which actually produced some edible fruit. Interesting, I would like to know which ornamental cherry this is. Okay, not the tastiest fruit. Here we have some palm trees with edible fruit. Trachycarpus fortunei, or the hemp palm from the Himalayas, is the most popular palm tree in Germany. Here you can see the blue fruit, although most of them are in the shade. They're actually edible. The stem, those fibers are being used as hemp. And now, yeah, last but definitely not least, one of the biggest fig trees I've seen around here. Look at that. It must be about 9 to 10 meters tall. With impressive stems. About 40 centimeters thick. This is pretty unique for Germany. We have a lot of figs here in this area, but most of them freeze back. I've never seen fruits on this tree. And the leaves are of a very unusual shape and really gigantic. Look at them. So I think that this is not one of the local fig varieties which have been bred as fruit trees in Germany. But this is some rootstock which got imported with some, fruit tree, but the graft died back. That's why it's a shrub. Basically, nobody sells figs as a shrub here. So I guess this is the remnant of a fig that froze back. Just the rootstock survived, but still very impressive. So folks, this is the beautiful spa park of Bad Dürkheim in Germany. Stay tuned for a lot more fruit videos from the beautiful country of Germany, and don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe.